Good morning, everyone. Political interference seems to be something Trudeau and the Trudeau government cannot get away from SNC to Mark Norman, which just got dismissed yesterday. Because if it had gone forward, the trial for exactly the same thing that SNC just went through the public trial over, the public and the press, etc., would actually be happening in a courtroom trial during the election or right up in the run-up to the election. Either or. The discovery and all the beginning stuff of the trial would be happening in the end of August, and then probably the writ drops and then trial starts, right? So you got to get rid of that. You got to solve that problem fast, because you can't be seen interfering in an arm's length judicial process after you've just put behind you that exact allegation on something else, right? SNC and then Mark Norman. And I mean, the fact that political interference has been alleged in the Mark Norman trial isn't new. It's just been kind of festering because the trial was supposed to hit. So not that there wasn't much to report. There was always Mark Norman's lawyers were always pushing for documents, because that's why this took so long. This could have been done 2 years ago, except that Justin Trudeau and his administration have refused to hand over documents that Mr. Norman's former defense said exonerated him from any wrongdoing. And Justin Trudeau gave it over redacted, 60-page notes, redacted, emails, redacted. Nope, sorry about that. And then when he realized that he couldn't get out of it and couldn't not provide the documentation, he dropped the charges. Of course, he's saying that it's arm's length. They didn't have anything to do with it. It has nothing to do with politics, but it seems like it has everything to do with politics, right? Here's the meme. The memes tell a story, and it's Justin Trudeau saying, "I am not interfering with this cartoon," and he's cutting off a judge who's saying, "Your Honor, Crown has decided to stay the charges against Vice Admiral Mark Norman." Interesting stuff. When that's what the public is seeing and consuming, this government has lost its legitimacy. It's ridiculous at this point in time. It's a parody of itself. So, I mean, here's Trudeau being asked, "What do you think about this?" The totally independent dropping of the charges. This is Power and Politics tweeting, quote, PM Trudeau responds to Norman charge being dropped. The process involved in public prosecution like this is entirely independent of my office. It's an independent process, and we have confidence in the work done by the Director of Public Prosecutions, says Trudeau. Here it is.
The process involved in a public prosecution like this is entirely independent of my office. It's an independent process, and we have confidence in the work done by the Director of Public Prosecution.
Can you tell us? And yeah, I mean, there's more to it, but this was only the only clip I found at this point in time, and I don't have time to find another one, so I apologize for that. The Globe and Mail really blows its front page held today. We currently have a Vice Chief of Defense Staff, and he will remain in place. Norman headed back to active duty. Nope, Globe and Mail. Nope, he doesn't get his job back. And that's an interesting twist and turn, because he's an innocent man. He's had 2 years of his name being pilloried in the press and discussed in connection with charges, even though no charges were filed until March 2018. In 2017, Justin Trudeau said, "Oh yeah, it's going to end up in court." How did he know? That's interesting, right? And now that he's an innocent man, he doesn't get to have his job back? Let's imagine this is a different situation. Let's say Doug Ford targeted, at the beginning of his reign as Premier of Ontario, he targeted the second in command of the OPP because that person prevented Doug Ford from getting what he wanted. And so he's had 2 years of legal battles and a $500,000 legal bill, and he's been found absolutely innocent because the prosecution dropped the charges. Doug Ford dropped the charges. Does he get his job back? No. If not, why not? Right? So this is exactly the same situation. Mr. Norman, Vice Admiral Norman, crossed Justin Trudeau and the incoming Liberals, who wanted to quash the Davie ship contract and give it to Irving. Right? Connections upon connections. And, well, here's the Ottawa Citizen reporting about Mr. Norman's job. So, Ottawa Citizen reporting, quote, Norman wants his vice chief job back, but Saijan says that won't happen. Vice Admiral Mark Norman says he wants to return to his position as Vice Chief of the Defense Staff at the same job he had before being suspended by General John Vance in January 2017. But that won't be happening. Norman was talking to journalists about what he would like to see happen next, now the federal prosecutors have stayed the one charge of breach of trust that he faced. Quote, I believe that for me and for the Canadian Armed Forces, the best choice would be for me to go back into my former position, Norman told journalists at a news conference after the court proceedings. The vice chair of the defense staff is the second highest ranking military position in the Canadian Forces. But the defense minister, Harjit Sajjan, shot down any return of Norman to the position of VCDS. Quote, we currently have a vice chief of defense staff, and he will remain in place, Sajjan told reporters. Quote, I understand that General Vance, as his immediate supervisor, will be meeting with him and discussing the next steps. Once those discussions have taken place, I'll have further advice given to me. Vance issued a statement noting that he would be talking to Norman soon and looked, quote, forward to welcoming him back to work as soon as possible. The statement did not discuss what position Norman would take over. I scroll down a little bit. Vice Admiral Norman, this is a quote, Vice Admiral Norman, you entered a plea of not guilty, Justice Heather Perkins McKeevy told him shortly after the Crown prosecutors announced Wednesday they no longer had a reasonable prospect of conviction and were staying the charge. Quote, you are presumed to be innocent and you remain so. You are free to leave. An innocent man loses his job, uses 2 years of his time and $500,000 personal money and doesn't get his job back? Really? Really? I think maybe this is yet another misstep from the Trudeau government, from Harjit Sajjan and from Justin Trudeau and from the entire top to bottom, everybody. Misstep after misstep after misstep. What they've done to this man is awful, and they should face consequences for their poor choices. And the consequences, the most dire consequences that these people can face is at the polls. These people should lose their jobs over this. This man did nothing wrong. This man is innocent of all the charges. And they are still messing with him. Disgusting. Disgusting from our sitting government. Disgusting. Here's Mr. Scheer talking, well, it's the Toronto Star, talking about how Mr. Scheer would ban Huawei from 5G networks. Yesterday, Donald Trump, actually his Secretary of State, Pompeo, went to the United Kingdom and told Theresa May, if you don't ban Huawei from your 5G, you don't get access to ours, and we will not give you access to the Five Eyes. You will not have those spying capabilities because we don't trust Huawei. So this is Scheer responding to actual things that are happening in the world. Justin Trudeau should be responding to actual things in the world. This Huawei thing the decision has been kicking around for a year and a half now. I think it was mid-2017 when rumblings of this started, and then people were called conspiracy theorists on Facebook because 5G looked scary or something like that. And this is a legit concern, and it's not. 5G in and of itself is a concern. So it's interesting that Mr. Scheer is responding this quickly, but he says that, well, the Star is reporting a conservative government under Andrew Scheer would ban Chinese telecom Huawei from participating in Canada's next generation wireless networks, the Star's learned. Scheer's office confirmed Wednesday that the Conservatives would ban Huawei products from Canada's 5G infrastructure if they form the government after this fall's federal election. That's nothing but good news. I still think Scheer is probably going to win a minority and form the government, and I think the Trudeau Liberals will fall to third or fourth. I don't think Jagmeet Singh is going to make too many increased seat gains. That's what I think. I really do. I think there's a huge hole. I think the conservative hole is getting bigger as Scheer moves to the center to fill in where the Liberals have gone off the deep end on the left, right? That's what I think has happened, really. And I mean, that's okay. If the Conservatives want to be a centrist party, that's fine. That's up to them. But I think that it's interesting that Trudeau is not able to do anything, to make any statement on the 5G, to do anything, because for fear of making the wrong chess move. He's not making a chess move, right? Like, you understand what's happening? He's not making a choice, is making a choice. By kicking the can down the road and taking a long time to make the decision on whether or not to ban Huawei, they're making a choice. It looks like they're continuing to allow access, right? It looks like, if you looked at the Bell advertisements and the Rogers advertisements, Huawei top to bottom. It's interesting. It's interesting to pay attention to. But even day to day, right? In absence of making a choice, if you think to yourself, sitting at your desk, man, I should go get lunch, but you don't do anything about it, you don't get lunch, right? So anyway, last story for today. I found this one interesting. I'm doing a local story for my local EDA, looking at homelessness and spending and how that relates to, like, how that federally relates to local. And this is interesting. Doug Ford, this is provincial, tweeting, quote, "The federal government has broken our immigration system by allowing illegal border crossers to drive up wait times to up to 5 years. 5 years. This is unacceptable for the millions of people waiting to get into Canada through the proper channel." Right. And unacceptable to the people footing the bill for these people to stay in Canada while their claim is kicked down the can and not processed because we don't have enough people to process it. And the people who are processing it are taking an extra long time, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The wait times have gone, they're supposed to be 2 months. They've gone from the expected wait time of 2 months to, it was 9 or 15 months, and now it's fully 2 years. And that's not even, I don't even think that's half the story. I've been hearing grumblings and rumblings that the immigration system is in much, much worse shape than even this is suggesting. 2024, I think that we're actually at the wait times being 5 years now, but I don't know that. So it's interesting to watch our asylum system and our immigration system that used to be gold standard in the world be reduced to being overrun and completely useless because of, again, liberal mismanagement at the top from the federal level, complete mismanagement of our borders, complete mismanagement of the crisis, complete lack of leadership at the top. Absolutely terrible. Failure after failure for these liberals. So check out the People's Party of Canada.ca. They might be the balance of power. They might be the official opposition. Maxime Bernier might even be prime minister. Who knows? But the more you know about what's on offer from every party, not just the Liberals and not just the Conservatives, every party, the more you know, the better. What do the Greens offer? What do the Greens offer as a plan for Canada? What's their vision for the next 5 years? Is it just to remove Canada from being an oil-producing country or a plastics-consuming country? Is that their plan? What is their governing plan? How about the Conservatives? What do they want to accomplish in the short term and the long term? Because Mr. Scheer has had he's had a year and a half at least anyway to define himself. And he has defined himself as someone who is wanting a little bit as far as leadership chops go. So, and Mr. Bernier as well has defined himself as a conservative voice since August, right? And before. So August of 2018 when he split from the Conservative Party because they weren't conservative enough. As I said, they've gone to the center. It's interesting. Check out the People's Party of Canada, if only to educate yourself about what they're about. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a wonderful day.